Excuse my hair and stuff, but I wanted to give it a try. So when I looked up eagle eye, like I'm gonna start here. My first problem that I suffer with spiritually is I lean too much on my own understanding instead of like focusing on the facts. So as I'm reading it, my mind is already going into what I believe it is. You get what I'm saying? So to derive to change to shift my train of thought, I'm like, let me just look at the facts of an eagle, like the facts and what stands out to me about the eagles. So I opened up my notebook and I just started. First, I was listening to it. I was listening to like just regular facts, like general facts off YouTube. Like that's where I went. That's where I was led to, and I was just listening to just facts about the eagle, and in my mind translated to characteristics of an eagle. Characteristics I feel like, well, characteristics of which the Bible speaks of in character, that we should have. And a couple of things came to me. Like I had a pro side and I had like a con side. So what come to eagles like pro, like they're strong, like they're loyal, like they're mate, like marriage. And it's crazy because right now I'm dealing with like celibacy, like with my boyfriend. Like we've been together for 3 years and that's like really what I'm suffering with. And it's crazy because as I'm listening to the eagle, it's like their spouse, like soon as they find a lover, they stay with them for years. And what they said was the longer they are together, the bigger their nest becomes. Like that stood out to me. More characteristics was they're determined, they're focused. Like the fact that I learned like eagles at one point was about to be extinct. You feel me? It was only like 400 like bald eagles, like eagles in the world, and they was over to overcome that, and now they went from the instinctless to not instinct anymore. Like now they done freaking 1,000 triple what their being was. You get what I'm saying? So that shows me like overcome anything. Like anything is possible through Christ who give you strength. You get me? Like that's what came to me too. Another thing that came to me was that they're fearless. They're the top of their food chain. They are not the hunted. You get what I'm saying? That stood to me too, because if you are a child of God, you got to understand that can't nothing stop you besides your father saying it's time to come home. You're unstoppable. Like you have God within you. That stood out to me. I deal with a lot of not under. Another thing that stood out to me was their presence. Like I am here. Like a bald eagles come in like they're the head and not the tail. Like they come in like as if like they know I'm supposed to be here. Like that's another thing that I deal with. Not understanding my worth. That stood out to me. Their focus, like the eye view, like they can see. Like our eye view can only see, but then like 1,000 like pixels, I guess you could say. Like basically our basically the width of how far our eyes can see out. You feel me? Eagles is like times like 3,000 compared to ours. Like ours 1,000, theirs like 100,000. You get what I'm saying? So it's like them being able to see surpass the front, the circumference, like them able to see internally, like into a soul. And that speaks to me too, because worrying so much about what you think is going to come, like being able to see the enemy coming from far away. Like another thing that stood out to me was they were saying like a bald eagle. Like eagles aren't bald, so where did the name come from? So basically, it's just like a name that comes because after a baby bald eagle, they start off gray, and as they get older, they get white. They get white feathers in their head as they age, and that showed me like levels. Like it's literally levels to progressing in your faith of God. Like that stood out to me too. Like dang, like as you go up, you'll grow. Another thing that stood out to me, I'm gonna tell you all the cons that came to my head: jealousy, vicious, um, at a young stage of life, if they overcome it, they're well, it's not really a con this part, but they were saying like the youngest stage of their life, like with an eagle, if they basically overcome that, there's nothing stopping them. So that shows me like adolescence, like like childish things, like that showed me that. I got jealousy from the facts that I was listening to, because they were saying like most of the time when the mother eagle lays eggs, she lays two, and the strongest one takes out the weakest one. I don't know why that stuck out to me as jealousy, but there could be something that like I'm dealing with my own like self. Another thing was vicious, harsh. Like eagles have a killer instinct, and to me it transferred as like us being able to fight with our spirit, you know, strengthening the spirit, like things I gotta work on, like understanding I'm a soldier for God, even though I'm his daughter, you know, I have to fight with the spirit and not like my hands, but still be as not vicious, but in other words, like mighty, you know, like believe in what I'm fighting for, you know. They say like if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So that's what I got from on them lines. Another thing that stood out to me was, I'm just gonna say this part fast so I can get to the next part I was talking about. The early stages of life. Basically, they saying like an eagle, they become the unhunted, the top of their food chain. And they're saying like the hardest part of an eagle's life is, you know, like me, like or people younger than me, you know, is that growing up phase, you know, when we go through so much that build our character, the time when most people will question God for, you know, what's happening to them and not understanding that we only see things like a piece of string, you know, we can never see the full painting because we can't see in his eye vision. We can't see up that high, so we only see like the needle and the string. We can't see everything that's being knitted. So every time, you know, something is put onto us, that's all we're able to see at the moment, so we don't understand at that time. So that stood out to me, like, you know, if you get through them phases of when we're young and adolescents, you know, before we get our wings, our white wings, you know, like an eagle head. And when I say win, like, I mean, like, win within our spirit, you know, like, knowledge is really success. Knowledge is really, knowledge is really what we need, you know, like the word, like understanding the word, digesting the word. And that's what I'm going through right now, you know, trying to put everything together to my own understanding. And well, that's the problem. I keep trying to put things in my own understanding. Like, I need to just literally just read the word and go off the facts, you know. That's my problem, y'all. But back to what I was about to say just now that I realized too about eagles. All right, so this is something that's strongly with me. Like, they said the eagles are unhunted, like it has no enemies because no one is particularly searching for the eagle. That stood out to me because, like, I'm the type of person that be like, people give the devil too much credit, you know, like God does things in life because God is never wrong. You get me? God moves in dominoes. Like, everything has an effect, whether we know it or not. So it's like people give him so much credit, the devil. And it's like sometimes God allows you to go through things so you can get experience or go through it to shape you as a character. So when they said like the eagle has no enemies, it shows to me that I feel like we create our own demons. You feel me? Because our mind, we allow it to spiral out of control. And that's something that I deal with too. It's like God is showing me from my eyes so I won't have to overthink it. So I'm going to end it with this. Like, to me, and what I got from it was from that point, based off of like what I'm going through and what I'm, you know, praying about, is we create our own demons. Like, the enemy is within our mind. Like, we are our own problem. You get what I'm saying? And it's like we can't allow our mind to be corrupted and taken over. And the only way that's going to happen is if you're right with spirit, what you were saying, you know. And that really stuck out to me. And I'm just, you know, a regular person, regular girl, just trying to, you know, make my way. Like, I'm not perfect, you know, and God has mercy, and I honestly, truthfully appreciate it. And it's like, I just want y'all to know, like, this is how, like, I went about it, so you won't overthink it and think that you got to do, like, a complex thing. It's like, really just let the Lord lead you. And yeah. Oh, yeah, and what stood out to me when I, like, researched it myself was effort. Like, effort really stuck out to me. I have to put in the effort, like, literally. Like, I literally have to do it, like, and that's what really stuck out to me. I gotta put in the effort, like, and yeah. So my name is Tabitha. Yeah, this was a good exercise, and I have to start writing, making it plain. And my personal goal is to memorize more verses, because that's the only way that, you know, you can beat the enemy within self, and in general is beating it with the word. So my goal, and I want you guys to hold me accountable, let's be each other accountability partners, is for me to learn more verses and, like, engrave them in my heart. And yeah, I'm done. Great exercise.